Tall figures with animal heads, glowing eyes, wings of light, powers that defy explanation. For thousands of years, the ancient Egyptians worshipped gods that didn't look human. But what if they weren't just symbols? What if they weren't just myths? What if they were real and not of this earth? Let's ask the question mainstream history avoids. Were the gods of ancient Egypt actually extraterrestrial beings? Let's begin with the obvious. The gods of Egypt don't behave like regular mythological figures. They arrive, they rule, they teach, they build, and then they leave. Inscriptions speak of the Zep Tepi, the first time, when gods descended from the stars and ruled the land. These weren't just spirits, they were flesh and blood beings who walked among humans. The list of early rulers in the Turin King list and Abydos King list goes back tens of thousands of years, far before the first historical pharaohs. And those first rulers? Not men. They were called Netjeru, the Shining Ones, divine, radiant, powerful. Some scholars interpret Netja as simply God, but others argue it means one who watches or one who descends. Is that a description of a god or a visitor? Look at the depictions. Thoth, the god of wisdom, with the head of an ibis. Anubis, the guide of the dead, with the head of a jackal. Sobek, the god of strength, with the head of a crocodile. Horus, the sky god, with the head of a falcon. Mainstream Egyptology says these are metaphors, ways of expressing divine attributes. But ancient art was not abstract. Egyptian carvings were deliberate, precise, repetitive. These beings are shown consistently across temples and millennia. Were the gods hybrid creatures? Were they wearing helmets or masks? Or were they simply not human to begin with? Now consider their knowledge. The gods of Egypt were said to have brought language, mathematics, agriculture, astronomy, and medicine. Thoth, in particular, is credited with inventing writing, geometry, and the Mehen serpent game, a spiral symbol of time. He's also the keeper of the Emerald Tablets, a text that speaks of dimensional travel, anti-gravity, frequency, and soul transmutation. One passage reads, "Raise your vibration and you shall become more than flesh. The gates will open, the veil will fall." This isn't mythology, it's physics, it's quantum consciousness, written thousands of years ago. Let's talk architecture. The pyramids, aligned to Orion's belt, built with 100-ton stones, zero error tolerance. No mummy has ever been found in the Great Pyramid. No carvings, no explanation. Who built them? The ancient Egyptians themselves said, "We did not build these, we inherited them." Inherited from whom? The god Khnum is said to have created humanity on a potter's wheel, an image eerily similar to genetic engineering. And the god Ptah? He created the world using spoken word and thought. Vibration, frequency, sound. Modern science now admits that sound can shape matter. Did the Egyptians know this? Or did someone teach them? Let's go deeper. The Dogon tribe of Mali, far from Egypt, have oral traditions dating back thousands of years. They speak of the Nommo, amphibious beings from the star system Sirius. They say the Nommo came from the sky in a spinning, glowing arc. They brought knowledge. They created order. The Dogon knew, long before telescopes, that Sirius has a companion star, Sirius B, invisible to the naked eye. They knew its orbital pattern, its density, its age. How? Sirius is also central to Egyptian cosmology. The annual rising of Sirius marked the new year and the flooding of the Nile, a sacred event. Coincidence? Or a celestial connection? In the temple of Seti I at Abydos, there is a controversial carving. It appears to show a helicopter, a tank, and even a fighter jet. Mainstream scholars call it a palimpsest, overlapping hieroglyphs, but engineers say the images are too clear. If this is a mistake, it's a very precise one. Some theorists believe this is not prediction, it's memory. A record of lost technology, perhaps alien technology, observed and recorded. Then there's the matter of elongated skulls. Some royal mummies and priestly remains have cranial shapes far longer than normal. Egyptologists say it's cranial binding, a cultural practice. But medical experts argue that some skulls show no signs of binding and have larger cranial volume, not deformation. Genetic difference. Were these the descendants of gods, hybrids, or something else? Let's look at contact rituals. The ancient Egyptian priests spent decades in preparation. Fasting, chanting, initiation in darkness. Temple walls speak of opening the mouth, awakening the ka, activating the light body. Was this spiritual devotion or a form of interdimensional contact? Were the temples built not for worship, but for communication? Were the gods truly out there, or were they always watching from nearby, just unseen? Many ancient texts speak of the duality between the physical and non-physical realms. The duat, the underworld, was not underground. It was another layer of reality. Perhaps the gods weren't just aliens in ships, maybe they were beings of frequency, vibrating at higher dimensions, seen as gods by a civilization not ready to understand them. And here's the chilling part. Across the world, other civilizations say the same thing. The Anunnaki of Mesopotamia, the Viracocha of South America, the Sky People of the Hopi, the Nomo of Africa, the Watchers of the Book of Enoch. Different names. Same story. Beings from the sky, givers of knowledge, builders of stone, and always they leave, promising to return. So, were the Egyptian gods aliens? Maybe not in the way we imagine. Maybe they weren't little green men, but advanced intelligences, biological or energetic, who guided early humanity. Maybe the temples are not monuments, but antennas. Maybe the pyramids are not tombs, but receivers. And maybe the gods never left. Maybe they're still here, waiting for us to see beyond the stone, beyond the symbol, and into the truth. Subscribe to Notebook of Secrets for episodes yet to come.